Guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If you're new, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. If you're not new, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And today, it is Monday Mass Reactions. And for once, we're not going to be reacting to theories. We are going to be reacting to Tyler Vitelli, I Found Backrooms in Real Life story time. So, let's get straight into the video, shall we? So, yeah.
What would you do if I told you these backrooms really exist and they're hidden inside a mall? Don't believe me? Well, I'll prove it to you by the end of this video because I actually went there and you'll never believe what happened. So let me explain. It all started as a dumb idea me and my friends had one day. You know how every town has that one urban legend? Like, I'm sure your hometown has one. A spooky house you're not supposed to go near. Or the creepy guy that everyone thinks made someone disappear. Well, my town's urban legend was our mall. And the myth about it was that the mall had secret tunnels hidden below it. An underground maze that some employees called the backrooms. And inside these tunnels were rooms with designs that made no sense. Like, there was one popular story about a room with rainbows and clouds painted on it like a daycare. Another about one that looked like a barber shop. The first time I heard about this urban legend, I didn't believe it. I was like, yeah, sure, this mall can barely keep Wetzel's Pretzels in business, but I'm supposed to believe it has a secret underground bunker? Okay. But then I started noticing that every time you asked an employee about this, they would react in a pretty similar way. They'd either laugh awkwardly or just try to brush it off like you're crazy for even asking this question and then go, no, the back rooms? What is that? What are you asking about? The back shop rooms? Never heard of them.
What?
So I didn't know what they knew, but it was obvious they were hiding something. One time, I was waiting by the bathrooms at the mall, and the janitor was mopping. So I said to him, hey, is it true there's secret tunnels under this mall? He just looks up, stares me in the eyes, dead seriously, and goes, it's none of your business. So obviously, my friends and I were curious. Not because we actually believed these rooms were real, but more so, we were bored and we needed something to do on a Friday night. And that's how the dumbest plan ever was born. We decided we were gonna stay in the mall after it closed and look for these back rooms. We just wanted to explore the empty mall and see if there was some hidden entrance employees knew about. Did we actually expect to find anything? No. But this seemed fun, and my friends and I basically all just wanted to be Sam and Colby when we were growing up, so this sounded like a cool adventure. But we had no idea what we were in for that night. So we made a plan. Step 1, go into the mall. Step 2, about 10 minutes before closing time, go into the abandoned store that used to be Mrs. Fields Cookies. Man, I miss that so much. And then hide in the back of there until the mall closes and everyone leaves. Step 3, once those lights shut off, signaling that all the employees are gone, start looking for the back rooms. So let's fast forward to the night this all went down. We got there around 7:30 p.m. and the mall closing time was 9. We just started off by walking around into stores, trying not to look sketchy. Of course, I had to go get some cinnamon pretzel bites from Wetzel's Pretzels. We scoped out the abandoned store, making sure it would be a good hiding spot, and it looked like the perfect place. It was in a pretty vacant area of the mall where not many people walked by anyway, and if we hid in the back of it, the chances of security coming in before leaving seemed awfully low. All we had to do to make it past closing time was shut up and not say a word. And if you've seen my other videos, you know just how hard this is to do for my friend group. About an hour passed and we agreed it was time to get in position. So when no one was looking, we hopped over the counter, went into the back where the kitchen was, and hid behind some stovetops. And it still smelled like cookies in there. After sitting there together in silence for 30 minutes or so, we heard the metal gates roll down and the mall music be shut off. Every once in a while, we would hear footsteps from a security guard walk by and we'd clench our cheeks to be as quiet as possible. Finally, around 10 p.m., all the lights shut off, and now the mall was completely dark. It was officially time, so we quietly hopped over the counter into the main area of the mall, made sure the coast was clear, and it became obvious. Now, we had the mall all to ourselves. Or so we thought. At first, we just explored the empty mall part of it because it felt surreal. Every sound we made echoed throughout the whole place because we were the only ones there. And then we started our mission. Find the door to the back rooms. So we're walking around, exploring every inch of this place like a health inspector, looking for any door that looked suspicious. Every time we'd see one that said something like employees only, we'd pull it open, only to find a supplies room or janitor space. After about 20 minutes of looking, Marcus was convinced the rumor was fake and Chris was ready to quit. And I agreed. This is what happens when you have a friend group full of people with no attention span. We do all the work to hide inside a mall past closing time just to give up after 20 minutes of looking because We couldn't focus any longer. But right as we're thinking this place doesn't exist, and it's stupid that we even thought it did, we then reached the loading dock area of the mall. If you don't know what a loading dock area is, it's where all the trucks come to deliver the supplies to the mall stores. So people shopping at the mall never go in this area. We're walking around here, not thinking we'll find anything, just wanting to check it out because we weren't allowed to be here during normal hours. And that's where we saw it. A heavy, gray, industrial door with no label. Just a bar, and the area surrounding the door was a lot colder than the rest of the building. We all thought to ourselves, if there's any chance these back rooms are real, it's gotta be behind this door. So we all pulled on it together since it was super heavy, and to our surprise, it opened. A cold breeze hit us right away. But I know the question you're all wondering is, what did it look like inside? Well, to our shock, it looked just like the urban legend described. A massive tunnel that had a downward slope going underground with buzzing fluorescent lights that barely lit up the hallway.
Really
I was starting to think maybe these weren't the back rooms. Maybe it was the Navy tunnel. Alright, I know that joke sucked, my bad. So we were all thinking, if it's true that this place actually exists, then maybe the Rainbow Room and the Barbershop Room and all the other rooms that people mentioned really exist too. So we had to look for them. We took our first step in there, but the craziest part about this place was that the hallway stretched farther than any of our flashlights could reach. We couldn't even see close to the end of it, so we just started walking, seeing where it would take us. We walked for maybe 10 minutes in a completely straight line, just going at a slight downward slope. And it was in this moment where the tunnel split. There was 3 different ways to go. One path to the left, one path to the right, and one path straight ahead. This was an important part of the night because one thing we didn't think about when planning this night out was there was no map for this place. So if we took a couple turns in here and forgot the way we came from, we would have been lost with no way back. And also, there was no service on our phones down here. Yes, I know, terrifying. You couldn't doom scroll in the back rooms. So to make sure we didn't get lost, Marcus put a post-it note he had with him on the wall every time we took a turn. So when we tried leaving, we would know which way to go. We decided to turn right. Our plan was to just go right every time we had a choice so we wouldn't get confused. After walking down this path for 5 minutes, we saw our first door. Prior to discovering this, it had just been empty walls with no rooms. But now, we found our first one. It was made out of metal just like the entrance door, but not as big. So we pulled on it, not thinking this one would open at all. But it seemed like the doors down here wanted to be open because this one was unlocked too. And this next moment did not feel real. We never thought this would happen, because this was where we found out all the rumors were true. Have you ever noticed that you can get literally anything like
since when did bro get louder, bruh?
Food, rides, flights, groceries in 10 seconds on your phone these days? Like, you don't even have to leave your house to do anything anymore. But there's one thing that it still feels like you can't do just at the click of a button, and that is booking a doctor's appointment. They treat booking doctor's appointments like solving a math problem. But what if I told you there's a much easier way to book doctor's appointments now? And that is today's video sponsor, ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free website where you can search and compare in-network doctors without having to call a single office. You just put in what you're looking for: insurance, location, appointment times, and everything's laid out clearly. You can see real appointment availability. You click a time, pick once, and you're booked. No human interaction required, which honestly might be the best feature. They also show verified patient reviews and detailed doctor profiles, so you're not just guessing. You can pick a doctor based on what matters to you, not because they were the only option. And it's not limited to one type of appointment either. ZocDoc has over 150,000 providers across almost every specialty: dental, mental health, eye care, skincare, all in one place. And it's completely free. And when you found the doctor you need, you can see their actual appointment openings. Plus, ZocDoc helps you get appointments fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. And you can even try same-day appointments. So if booking a doctor still feels harder than it should be, go to ZocDoc.com/Tyler Vitelli, linked in the description, and just book it the normal, modern way. Because inside this door was the Rainbow Room.
Alright.
If booking a doctor still feels harder than it should be, go to ZocDoc.com/Tyler Vitelli, linked in the description, and just book it the normal, modern way. Because inside this door was the Rainbow Room. Bright murals on the wall, blue sky, smiling sun, rainbows, flowers. It was beautiful, but also terrifying because it looked like it hadn't been used in decades. We didn't stay in there for long because it gave us the heebie-jeebies, so we decided to keep going, but we never should have. The thing we kept wondering is, why? What was the purpose of all this? That part, we couldn't figure out until a little bit later. So we kept exploring to see if we could get the answer to this question.
Oh, no.
We walked for probably another 15 minutes, took maybe 4 right turns at this point, so it was like a maze. And I should mention, during this time, there were multiple other doors we saw that we tried opening, but they were locked. That was until we got to the mannequin room. It was a room with literally nothing in it except a bunch of mannequins, all different sizes. And when you're in a room full of mannequins, your mind starts to play tricks on you. You're thinking they're watching you, or they're moving, and you'll understand why I said that soon. Something about this room just felt off. So we decided that was enough exploring for the night. Let's go back to the entrance and get out of here. We now officially know this place is real. We got our closure. That's good enough for us. So we head back to the entrance, not running, but definitely at a fast pace. And we get back to the big gray door and try pushing it open. But we made a big mistake. A mistake we didn't plan for because the door was locked. It didn't move at all. We pushed, pulled, kicked, nothing. The handle didn't even rattle. It felt like the door had decided it was now a wall. So Tyler, are you saying what I think you're saying? Yes. We were trapped in an underground tunnel that has creepy rooms with no way out. And there was no phone service in here. So we couldn't even doom scroll while being stuck. Or call someone for help, I guess. That's important too. And we also had no idea how often people even came in here. So the possibilities for how long we could be stuck down here were endless. We're all freaking out. Okay, well, the mall opens at 10, so worst case scenario, we're stuck in here for another 11 hours? That's not the worst case scenario. The worst case is that no one comes in here for months and our bodies slowly start to decay away before cats eat us. Since we knew that no matter what, there probably wouldn't be anyone opening this door for at least another 8 hours, we decided it would be a good idea to go back deeper into these tunnels and see if there's another exit. This was the biggest mistake we made that night. Because when I told you these tunnels go deep, we didn't realize at the time just how deep. And also, how terrifying the things that were hiding inside them were. So we started walking back deeper into the tunnel. But this time, we took a left instead of a right. We knew there were no exits to the right because we already took that path. So after walking down this way for a couple minutes, we saw a door to another room. When we pulled on it, it was open. And all that was inside was a barber chair with a light bulb shining down right on it. Nothing else. But when we walked up to it, we noticed hair on the ground. Now, I don't know if hair decays or disintegrates over time, but the fact that there was still some right next to the chair made us stop and go, hold on, does this mean someone's been here recently? Like, are they actually using this room to cut hair? We just had more and more questions with no answers coming up. But everything would make sense just a little bit later. We left the creepy barber room, kept walking, still searching for an alternative exit, but then, completely out of nowhere, we heard a loud clank deep down the hall, like someone slammed something into metal. Because the tunnels had so many different ways to go, we couldn't tell where it was coming from, but it echoed forever. This was the turning point. We were done messing around, because now we knew someone or something was down here, and we didn't want to stay to figure out what. But we made a huge mistake right here, because this noise rattled us so much that we just ran as fast as possible in the opposite direction without thinking about where we were going. We ran for maybe 30 seconds before Chris stopped and went, guys! We both turned back, and then he goes, where are we going? None of us knew. We looked left, we looked right, and we realized, now, it all looked the exact same. Now, we had no idea where we were at or how to get back to the door we came in through. So we just sat there for a second. For the first time that night, we decided to take a break. Every time we moved, the situation just got worse. So we sat against the wall and regrouped. Okay, what should we do now? Die? Okay, that's a bit, we're not gonna do that. Let's just be smarter about this. From now on, we keep track of every turn we take. All of a sudden, we had a fresh set of motivation. We felt like if we used our brains for once, we could actually figure this place out. So we started walking again, going to every door, seeing which ones opened and closed, and eventually, we got back to the mannequin room. The moment we opened that door and saw the mannequins again, we were pumped. Okay, sweet, now we know where we are. But then we actually stepped into the mannequin room, and that fantasy died instantly. Because at first glance, it looked the exact same. Scattered mannequin limbs all over the floor. But the closer you looked, something was just off. Because I specifically remembered what one of the mannequins looked like since its eye was missing. And originally, it was angled away from the door. But this time, it was facing the door. I asked my friends if they noticed this too, but none of them had any idea what I was talking about. I was sure this mannequin moved. So if we all remembered it one way and it wasn't that way anymore, that means one of two things. Either someone else was down here with us and had been in this room after we left, or these mannequins are moving on their own. But mannequins can't move by themselves, right? Right? So I started scanning the room with my flashlight like I was conducting an investigation, seeing if I could find anything else that seemed different about this room, but I couldn't tell. The only thing I specifically remembered from coming in here the first time was the mannequin with an eye missing. We stepped back into the hallway, but we purposely left the mannequin room door open this time. We figured it would be best to leave it almost as a landmark to know where we were at. So we started walking, convinced that since we found the mannequin room again, we could navigate back to the rainbow room. Why did we want to go back to the rainbow room? Well, out of all the rooms we've been inside so far, that one felt the least creepy. So the new plan was stay there until the mall opens, then go back to that entrance door and hope someone unlocks it. We passed the barber chair room door, and I remember feeling this tiny spike of relief. Like, okay, yes, we do know where we're going. But as we were walking toward the rainbow room, something felt different. Like the distance between the doors felt a little bit longer. Just tiny things that made us think, is our mind playing tricks on us right now? Because these hallways just didn't feel familiar, even though we already walked in this area, or so I thought. As we were heading back toward the spot where the rainbow room should have been, something caught my eye that made me stop. Up ahead, on the right side of the hallway, there was an open door. And not just cracked open, fully open. Light spitting out into the tunnel. We froze instantly, because that wasn't normal. Every single door we'd seen down there so far had been shut tight. And these weren't the type of doors that could just swing open from the wind. Not that there was any down here. But this one looked like it had been left open on purpose. Like maybe someone was in there. The weirdest part was that we were sure we hadn't passed it before. At least none of us remembered it.
I wasn't here earlier, was it? No, we definitely would have remembered that.
The fact that we couldn't recognize it made it way worse. We stood there for a few seconds just staring at it. Like if we didn't move, it might close on its own. And the light coming from inside it wasn't flickering like the tunnel lights either. It was steady and clean and brighter than the other ones. We slowly walked up to it, all three of us shoulder to shoulder, like that would somehow help. And I peeked inside first, fully expecting something or someone. But inside that room, there was nothing. It was just an empty concrete room. No shelves, no boxes, no pipes, no mannequins, just bare walls and a single light overhead. It didn't even look used. But what makes this room so weird was all the other ones we went into, we had to use our flashlight for light. None of these other rooms had a light inside it, or at least a light that was on. So keep this in mind for later. We just kept walking after seeing this room, brushing it off, and eventually we reached the spot where the rainbow room door should have been. I knew it should have been there. I remembered the angle of the hallway and the exact spot the door was. But when we turned to the corner, there was no door, just wall. It was like the door had never existed. For a second, I thought I was looking at the wrong spot, like maybe we overshot it. So I asked my friends if I led us in the wrong direction, but we all agreed the door should have been right here. But then we saw something that made us really question what was going on in these tunnels. Looked like it could have been from a Sharpie or something like that, but it stretched for probably 10 feet. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when we first walked to the rainbow room, we never saw this red mark. And trust me, if it was there the first time, we would not have missed it. It was obvious. So after pointing this out, Marcus went,
"What are the odds we're actually not in the same area we were in the first time?"
When he said that, my brain started to put things together. The mannequin room wasn't different because the mannequins moved. It was different because we weren't where we thought we were. That realization hurt. Cooked. Because if the rainbow room door wasn't here, it meant either we were in a different area or somehow these doors were just disappearing. The first option seemed more likely. So now we were officially lost. But this time, we had no idea which direction was the right one to go. We turned around and walked back a bit, checking the walls again, like maybe we just missed it. We were just desperate to find anything that looked familiar, but there was nothing. We took another turn and ended up in a hallway that looked exactly like the hallway we'd just been in. That was the part that kept messing with us. It's not that the tunnels are confusing, it's that they're all almost identical. Like they were built to make you second guess yourself.
This place is a maze. It's fine, we'll just go back to the mannequin room and start over.
We made our way back toward where we thought the mannequin room was, and this time, it took longer than we expected. We reached an intersection with 3 identical hallways and just stood there. Marcus said we should go left, like he was guessing on a test. Chris said, "Why left?" And Marcus went, "Because it feels right." Chris then went, "That's not a good reason." And Marcus replied with, "Do you have a good reason to go any other direction?" So Chris shut up, and we went left. We walked for a while, and in this hopeless pursuit of finding a familiar room, that's when we heard it, the noise again. The same one from earlier. About 10 more minutes passed, and then it happened again. This was the 3rd time we heard that noise, but it was the first time we stopped to think, wait, what if that noise is someone who knows we're lost in here, and they're trying to help us get out? We should follow it. We looked at each other all like thinking the same thing. This is either a really horrible idea, or a really good one. Because I always make fun of characters in horror movies for running toward the spooky sound instead of running away from it, but in this scenario, it seemed like our best option, our only option. Wandering randomly wasn't working. We were in a maze. We decided.
Yeah.
We followed. Listen, walk, stop, listen, walk.
Red
The sound out
light,
loud enough
green light.
that it was no longer a mystery. We knew we were right next to it. We rounded a corner, and it happened again, right in front of us, and we all froze. Flashlights aimed forward like we were about to confront something. My brain was bracing for a person standing there, or a ghost, or a monster, anything. But instead, it was just an air conditioning unit. A massive air conditioning machine bolted into the wall. And every time it kicked on, it made the exact groan and clunk we'd been hearing. It was just loud. That was it. On one hand, we were relieved because it wasn't a creepy serial killer. But we were also disappointed because now, we were back to square one. We had no idea where to go. Chris just stared at the air conditioning unit with pure hatred and went,
I hate this place.
It just felt like these rooms were trolling us at this point. We sat down against the wall next to the air conditioning units because our bodies were just done and out of hope. Turned our flashlights off, laid down on our backpacks. Marcus checked his phone again like the no service signal would suddenly say, actually, never mind. Here's some 5G.
Any ideas for what we should try next to get out of this place?
We all looked at each other, hoping someone just had something, any plan, any idea, even if it was horrible. Just something to give us a sliver of hope, but we had nothing. This was it. It felt like unless someone actually opened the door themselves and came to find us, we weren't getting out of this place anytime soon. And that was a problem because my mom was making spaghetti for dinner that next night. And I really love spaghetti. But as we're sitting there, exhausted, out of hope, that's when we see something. A light. Far down the tunnel to our right. It was faint at first, like a small glow. And not the flicker of the fluorescent lights inside here. It was different. It was brighter. It almost looked like light from outside. For a second, I thought my eyes were just messing with me. Like when you stare at something bright and then suddenly there's a bunch of spots in your vision. But this wasn't a spot. It was a consistent glow in one direction. I sat up so fast my back popped and I whispered,
Do you guys see that?
Marcus squinted, leaned forward and then said,
Yeah, I do see it. That wasn't there before.
Was this a sign of hope or danger? We didn't know. But like I said, we were out of options. We had to follow this. We could have saw a sign that says death awaits you this way, and we still would have followed it because we had no better plan at this point. So we started walking toward the light. Carefully at first because we didn't want to sprint toward another disappointment. The closer we got, the brighter it became. The tunnel bent and the light got stronger. Another turn and now it was obvious. This wasn't a light from inside here. It was brighter than everything else down here. It looked like the outside world leaking into the bunker. Marcus kept whispering,
Please be the entrance, please be the entrance, please be the entrance, please be the entrance.
We rounded another corner, and the glow became unmistakable. It was clearly coming from a doorway. And then, we saw it. That big gray industrial door that had been locked earlier was now open, wide open. And we didn't question why. We all reacted the exact same way. We just sprinted, full sprinted. Not a fast walk anymore, because sprinting is low-key embarrassing. But we didn't care. We were going as fast as we could, because we had no idea how long we had before it would slam shut again. We didn't see anyone in the area surrounding the door, so who knew why it was open, or how long it would be open. Our flashlights are bouncing, shoes slapping against the concrete, looking like three dudes racing the 400 meter against each other. We all leaped across the entrance as fast as we could, just making sure we got out. The second we got to that outside world, we were pumped. We're high-fiving each other, headbutting, doing all the celebrations, and then we look to our right and notice a random man is just standing there, staring at us, with a look on his face that said, am I seeing things right now? Or is there a group of teenagers that just came out of these tunnels at 5 a.m. in the morning? We caught our breath and then just said to him,
hello.
After a little bit of talking, it turns out he was a worker offloading one of the trucks that just arrived. And he didn't seem too particularly happy about us being in there. So we explained everything to him, thinking that he probably wouldn't understand because why would a group of 3 kids think the backrooms are located in a mall? But then he went,
I know why you were in there. Kids like you try going in here all the time.
Feeling shocked because we just realized we aren't as special as we originally thought, I go,
wait, so then what actually is this place?
And that's when we got the real explanation for what we just experienced that whole night. The mannequin room, the rainbow room, everything. Because he goes,
well, this mall was built over an old World War II military site, and these tunnels are leftover bunkers and service corridors.
We asked him about all the rooms we saw, and he explained.
The rainbow room used to be a child care area for families. Barber chair was part of an old barber shop, and the room with all the mannequins, I don't know, I've never seen that room before.
Interesting. So that was it. That was the explanation. And the saddest part about this mall is that it closed down.
The mannequin room is probably like practice shooting range? I'm not sure.
Down. So now, no one can ever go back to these back rooms.
Well, that was that video. If you like this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This has been fun. This has been hosted by me, Khalil. This has been Monday Mass Reactions. If you like this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys in the next video.